Shavua Tov, Israel Briefers, and welcome to a new week and a new edition of the Israel Brief with me, Rolene Marks. Now, if you traveled and celebrated Thanksgiving, I hope you had a wonderful time with your loved ones and got home safely. And wherever you are around the world, from Vancouver to Johannesburg, Melbourne to Malmo, our friends in Northern Ireland, and all over the world, welcome to it. And it doesn't have to be Cyber Monday or Giving Tuesday or whatever, because every day on the Israel Brief is free, and I'm happy to spend it in your company. As always, the Israel Brief comes to you in partnership with these guys, Lay of the Land. Now, it is day 787 since the 7th of October. And as we have been doing and as we will continue to do until they are all home, we still have two hostages whose remains are held captive by Hamas in the Gaza Strip. Israeli Ran Gvili, a police officer who, despite an injury to his shoulder, went down and fought off Hamas terrorists outside of Kibbutz Alumim on the 7th of October. In fact, there are reports that when they found the area where he was killed, there were about 19 terrorists who had been eliminated. Their bodies were around him. So he fought like an absolute lion. And Thai national Sodisak Rintalak, whose family have spoken to Israeli newspaper Yediot Ahronot, saying that, you know, he was about to come home. He was the breadwinner of the family. He was a great guy with lots of friends, and he was actually due to come home very shortly. And we want them both home. We want our brothers home now. But let's get into those top stories. And the big story that everybody's talking about is the extraordinary move by Prime Minister Netanyahu to file for a formal presidential pardon. Now, President Herzog has confirmed receiving the request for pardon. If you recall, when President Trump spoke at the Knesset, I think it was in October, after the release of the living hostages, the president appealed to President Herzog to grant Prime Minister Netanyahu a pardon. And Herzog's response was, well, he hasn't filed a request for one. This is the process here. It is a legal process. And President Herzog said last night that he hasn't even begun to discuss it. He has received the formal request, but he hasn't begun to discuss it. Now, of course, this has resulted in a lot of different responses. From the Prime Minister, he has said that he's doing it because he believes it is in the best interest of national security for the state of Israel. The opposition are, of course, absolutely opposed to it, saying that he should stand trial and stand trial for the crimes he is accused of, including grafting and bribery. The coalition absolutely support the Prime Minister's request, but former Prime Minister Bennett, Naftali Bennett, who is probably the most likely candidate to beat Prime Minister Netanyahu in an election, said that he wholly supports asking for a pardon. He says, but it should become conditional on condition that the Prime Minister steps back from politics. And this is a view many in the country are supporting. As you can imagine, it has resulted in a lot of different opinions. I mean, this is Israel, guys. We have an opinion about everything, sometimes two at a time. And many protested outside President Herzog's residence in Jerusalem last night. And the president released this statement today. He said, I will solely consider the best interests of the state of Israel and Israeli society. The issue of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's request for a pardon is clearly provoking debate and is deeply unsettling for many people in the country across different communities. I have already clarified that it will be handled in the most correct and precise manner. I will consider solely the best interests of the state of Israel and Israeli society. Now, if you aren't aware, President Herzog is a lawyer himself. Meanwhile, some lawmakers have expressed concern that President Trump could sanction Israeli lawmakers who don't agree to support a pardon. So watch the space, guys. We're going to follow this one pretty closely. From the land of milk and honey to the Emerald Isle, and a massive controversy over the weekend when the Dublin municipality announced that they would be renaming Herzog Park. Now, the tiny park in Dublin, which is situated close to Jewish schools and is named after Chaim Herzog. And if that name sounds familiar to you, Chaim Herzog not only was our sixth president, but he is also the current president's late father, and the father of the former Israeli ambassador to the United States, Michael Herzog. And of course, they had comments to weigh in on this. But the Herzog family has quite an extraordinary legacy in Ireland. Chaim Herzog joining the army to fight the Nazis, and this is why there is a park in his name, and then going on to become the sixth president of the State of Israel. But also, President Herzog's late grandfather was the chief rabbi of Ireland. So the Herzog family long has established connections to Ireland. Now, some of the names that were touted were Hind Rajab, named after a little Palestinian girl allegedly killed by the IDF, although that hasn't been confirmed, or Free Palestine Park. What I find amazing is that there are so many open spaces in Ireland, but they had to focus on this particular one. Gee, I wonder why. Of course, this resulted in massive backlash here in Israel, with the foreign minister saying that the best decision that Israel made was to shut our embassy in Dublin, because Ireland has become the capital of anti-Semitism in Europe. But what was amazing to see was the backlash from Irish people launching the hashtag Hands Off Herzog Park and putting up such a fight that it got the attention of the TSAC, the Irish equivalent of a prime minister, and the Irish government. And apologies to my Irish friends if I said TSAC wrong. And they also condemned moves to rename the park. In fact, there were condemnations from the TSAC, the deputy prime minister, and the foreign minister, who said that this is blatantly anti-Semitic and has no place in Ireland, which is a very, very welcome move. So needless to say, the government appealed to the municipality to rescind their plan to rename Herzog Park, which they have done, which, guys, is proof that if you have a voice, use your voice, because sometimes you make a real difference. And what is also interesting is that the Irish government have pulled the Occupied Territories Bill, which would have seen them boycotting any goods from what they call the occupied territories. And this is largely due to the fact that there is a ceasefire in place, and also because all of this has gained the attention of the international community, especially the USA, who have said that if Ireland continues on this political trajectory against Israel, it could harm US-Irish relations. So, luck of the Irish, and I'm here for it. Teams from the Red Cross and the Hamas military wing said today that they have commenced a search for an Israeli hostage in the refugee camp of Jabalia. This is according to Hamas-affiliated Quds News Network. Now, we were expecting that we could receive back a body that is believed to have been found. There was no clarification whether or not this was the remains of a hostage or somebody else. But according to an Israeli official, this will not be happening. And finally, from the people that brought you the Iron Dome, yes, Israel is bringing you the Iron Beam. I'm telling you guys, when that kooky woman in the US, Marjorie Taylor Greene, whatever her name is, said that we have space lasers. Turns out we have space lasers. Okay, so they don't operate in space, they operate on the land, and the army is due to take receipt of the space lasers or the iron beams on December the 30th, and these will be a game changer that will be able to shoot down drones that are sent towards Israeli territory. Now, of course, this is incredible defense development and know-how, and our defense is so brilliant that Germany will be implementing our Arrow 3, one of the air defense systems that we deployed against Iran in June this year. They will start to deploy that this week. So Israel keeping the world safe on land and in the skies. So guys, those are your top stories. Let's take a look at your audience question, and it comes from Lance in Johannesburg, who says, Ro, hi Lance, are there any TV shows or movies about 710? Well, actually, there are quite a few. There is the documentary We Will Dance Again. There is another one called The Killing Road, which is available on YouTube. I think We Will Dance Again, you might also be able to get on YouTube. Nova. There is also the TV shows One Day in October, which is on HBO Max. The award-winning The Road Between Us that premiered and won the People's Vote at the Toronto Film Festival. And Red Alert, which is a 4-part series, which, guys, I must tell you, I watched in full in recent days. In fact, I actually watched it in Hebrew. Devastatingly brilliant. And if you are able to watch these shows, I highly advise that you do. Not easy to watch, but very, very important. So, Lance, I hope that answers your question. In the meantime, guys, get those nominations of Mentions and Morons of the Week to me. Send your questions to me via social media or our website. And speaking of our website, we are on www.layoftheland.online. Well, I've always got fluff when I speak to you guys. We're right here on YouTube at the Israel Brief. And if you like our content, please consider subscribing, liking, and sharing as much as possible, because we want to get past those anti-Israel blockers. We are on Instagram at Rolene_Mark. Rolene Marks on Substack and LinkedIn. And guys, God bless you all. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you tomorrow for your next edition of the Israel Brief. Bye for now.